We're about to break down the Tennessee Titans injury report. All 21 players on it this week. Before that, though, I want you guys to like the video if you want the Titans to beat the Jacksonville Jags. I'm not saying if you don't like the video, Tennessee's going to lose. But if you don't like today's video and Tennessee does end up losing, I think you're going to feel pretty bad about it. So let's just play it safe, put some good energy into the universe. Like today's video if you want Tennessee to get back on the right course with a win in Week 5. Let's break down the Tennessee Titans injury report. I am Tom Downey, and wow, this one is insanely long. 21 players. Now, most of those guys will play, but we'll take our time going through all the injuries right now and focusing a little bit more on some notable players. First up, the guys who did not participants on Wednesday's practice. Now, we'll see what happens today on Thursday. Aaron Brewer, knee issue. I'm not overly concerned about him. J.N. Brown we'll see. That one's a bit of a red flag with a knee. Tommy Hudson, an ankle. Julio Jones, we'll get to. And punter Brett Kern as well has a groin. If those guys don't participate today on Thursday, red flags up about them being able to play in Week 5. Let's focus in, though, more on Julio Jones, the biggest name on that list pretty easily. He missed Wednesday's practice after missing last week's game with a hamstring issue. I don't know if Julio's going to be able to play this week. In his prime in Atlanta, Julio Jones consistently missed Wednesday's practices. He was a veteran. He didn't need practice. It was almost a rest day for him because he always had some type of bump and bruise and nick. As he ages, it is tougher to recover from those injuries. So I don't know about Julio. I kind of thought he played last week, and I was wrong on that one. So I'm curious here. What is your concern level over Julio Jones? This will be the pinned comment, by the way, on today's video. So head on down, get your votes in. Scale it for me 1 to 10. 1 being you're not worried at all. 10 being you're worried he's just not going to play at all this year, which we're somewhere in the middle, but get your votes in for me in the comments section. All right, some more did not participate. The first 3 names on this list. 2 receivers, because of course, Racey McMath with a quad, Nick Westbrook a kidney with a hamstring. Taylor Lewan, we'll go more in depth on him momentarily, has a toe. Fullback Kari Blasen game as an ankle, but he and A.J. Brown were limited. More on Brown, but first, Lewan. I'm not that concerned right now about Lewan. He's been kind of nicked up pretty much all season long at this point. He missed Wednesday's practice. This toe injury, by the way, is not a new injury for Taylor Lewan. He also left Week 4's game with what was called an ankle injury, but he did return. So I expect to see Lewan out there, if not by practice at some point this week, for sure the game. I would be kind of surprised if Lewan, who played last week and then had the toe issue previously and came back in Week 4's game, I would be surprised if he was not out there. But things have surprised me in the past. The Titans' offensive line is a bit nicked up right now. Several players, as you'll see in a little bit, limited right now on the injury report. I'm not panicked about some of these guys. Saffold, Ben Jones, we'll get to them, but they got to play better overall. Ryan Tannehill does, I think, tend to take too many sacks, but the offensive line has not held up its end of the bargain quite yet, I don't believe, either. All right, Titans fans, we are inside of 100 subscribers away from 1,000. So let's get there as soon as possible. All right, this is the #1 AFC South channel here at Chat Sports. We're not even to 1,000 yet because, the Colts or whatever, no one cares about the Jags, and, Houston's the second best team in their own state. So help us get to 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube by hitting that big red button right now. As promised, some more on one A.J. Brown. He was limited at Wednesday's practice. That is a very promising development for the Titans' best receiver on the roster. In general, and this doesn't always happen this way, but in general, when a player is limited early in the week, that often means that they end up playing later on in the week, that they're able to eventually get back out there and they play in the games. Limited on Wednesday normally means a full participant Thursday or Friday, or limited throughout the week, and then they're playing come game day. Brown, who had, of course, the knee surgeries in the offseason, now coming back from a hamstring injury. Tennessee, I think, pretty clearly needs him and or both Julio Jones out there. And as we mentioned, Nick Westbrook, he's banged up. Racey McMath is banged up. Chester Rodgers has been a nice surprise, but, Cam Batson, Josh, I don't think has been a disappointment overall. Tennessee needs Brown and Julio Jones out there. So, what do you think? Will A.J. Brown play this week? Type Y for yes or type in N for no. I lean towards yes, but I want to hear from you guys. Get your votes in for me in the comments section. Next up are a bunch of limited participants. Not all the way out there, not full, but they did practice in some capacity again on Wednesday. Denico Autry, hip, not worried about him. We'll come back to Bud Dupree. Rashawn Evans, a quad, I think he'll be fine. Sharif Finch has a concussion, but that he was limited, I think is a good sign there. Chris Jackson with a shoulder issue, so not panic there. The good news here is on Bud Dupree. For him to return to practice at a limited fashion is a good sign. Now, that happened back in week 3 as well. Limited, I think, on Thursday, and then went back to not participating and has missed the last 2 games with a knee injury. That's not ideal, given that Tennessee was banking on Bud Dupree to make a big impact on the defense. Harold Landry, I think, has played great so far this year from a pass rushing standpoint, getting pressures and whatnot. But Tennessee needs Landry out there being a big part, or needs Dupree, and Landry, out there being a big part of that defense. Hopefully they'll have some success against the Jags, which that's not a great offense right now. And Urban Meyer's got his own issues, right? So everyone watching the comments section, predict the score for me of this week's game. Get your votes in the comments right now. All right, some more players on this list. Ben Jones with a neck was limited, not panicking there. Same with Jeremy McNichols and his hamstring. Rodger Saffold, a concussion, limited, or at least was in concussion protocol. I think he'll be okay. That's maybe one to monitor because concussions are so tricky in the end. And then I'll also make note that Tyir Tart was a full participant on the injury report with a shoulder, so really nothing to be worried about on that front. 2 more guys I want to mention. First up is Jeffery Simmons, whomst I love. Simmons was limited on Wednesday with a back issue. Backs make me concerned. They give me red flags, but I'm not panicked on this one. I don't think it's going to prevent him from playing. Frankly, I still think Simmons is one of the best young defensive tackles in the NFL. And more good news for Tennessee on a lengthy injury report. Caleb Farley, back, a full participant at Wednesday's practice. He has missed the last 3 games with a shoulder injury, has only played in 8 snaps all season long, but this is a very good sign for Tennessee and getting Farley some more work as the season goes on. After all, he was the team's first-round pick.